if y'all don't recognize the stuff on his hat, there's a combat infantryman's badge. That means he's been shot at a time or two. Master, jump master, and military free fall, which is, people know it as Halo. So that's some pretty cool stuff. And he's got a special forces tab on there, which means he's a fellow Green Beret as well. So.
And I got my Guatemala master blasters and my air assault.
There you go.
Air assault. And that's not all my stuff. I just
of course not.
I had to come down around my neck.
Put on some ear flaps.
Sir?
I'm Walt Dickel, and I'm a Vietnam veteran. I was a civil affairs platoon. Finally.
Civil Affairs is part of the Army Special Operations Command. We work real close together, and so thank you. The Army Special Forces works very closely with the PSYOP, Psychological Operations, and the Civil Affairs.
Let me say one thing about that. I was one of the first Special Forces soldiers that was put in the 96th Civil Affairs Battalion when they pulled the conventional forces out of the Civil Affairs because basically they were making a mess of things when they went down range. They weren't getting trained.
Big Army tends to do that sometimes.
So they ended up turning around. It was General Downing. He was the SOCOM commander. Put us Special Forces guys in the Civil Affairs unit, and I did a lot of things on the. Well, if you don't understand Civil Affairs goes into an area, and they're the liaison between the host nation and the conventional military forces and special operations forces. So I'm fluent in Spanish, so I worked in Central America and South America in my capacity as a civil affairs sergeant. While I was in the civil affairs, I led one of the civil affairs tactical support teams. And so we made sure that the coordinations between the American forces and the host nation forces and the host nation people in charge was all coordinated.
Yep.
And made sure that things moved smoothly. And so thank you for your service. And doing that, I know exactly what you had to do. And you were in a tough area, way tougher than any place I'd ever been.
I was in Bencat, in Benzuan province, and I was stationed at YK, and our quarters were right next to the airfield. And Charlie was in the Iron Triangle firing mortars and rockets at the airfield. They never hit the airfield. They always hit my quarters when they blew up my flight jet.
Hey, for the younger guys here, Charlie means Victor Charlie, which means Viet Cong, which means the bad guys.
Yeah.
All right.
Very bad guys.
Yeah.
But
The commies. We're still fighting commies, by the way. So I'm here.
Democrat.
Hey, thank you, sir.
you want
I am Jim Leeser. I am Franklin Township trustee and also part of Franklin County's executive committee.
Awesome. We missed some back here.
Just arrived.
My name's Josiah Lanning. I'm a Central Committee member for Ward 42.
Yeah, Josiah, thank you. And again, I've told you this, you make an extra effort to come out to these events.
sir.
And we're so proud of you. So thank you,
for
sir.
being here.
Yeah. Anybody else back there? Our host? The Air Force guy, is he hiding?
Yeah, he's hiding out front right now.
Too many arms.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's because the Army robbed.
Well, listen, I don't know if we missed anybody else out there, but I want to get this started. I'm going to not necessarily go in the normal order. I was inspired by a couple of my brothers here who served in Vietnam. There you go. Introduce yourself. You're hosting us today.
Hey guys, actually, I got to correct our Green Beret here.
Okay.
This is actually Mr. Drake Ross's hosting today, so
I know this is your office.
it is my office, but he
Okay.
has to use my office. So this is his gig. So everything that's happened today, he's helped put together. So I gotta give
If
him
it goes
some
south,
stuff.
it's my fault.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Don.
But yes, thank you for acknowledging me for allowing Drake to use my office. But I'm glad you guys are here. I'm glad to have our Secretary of State here. This is a great opportunity. We've had several people here, as a lot of you guys know. We just did the Trump phone banking here, so we do a lot of things here at the office as far as politics. And you know, I think last Monday we even talked about the election integrity and the great work that Secretary LaRose has done. So very proud to host this, or not really host this. Sorry, Drake, don't want to steal your thunder, but to be part of the event. So thank you all. By the way, I am Air Force, so I will own that. And
Sheriff Force.
yeah, that's right, Chair Force. That's right.
Also known as.
And all these Army guys here, I'm not intimidated. Okay, the brains here knows how to work the room.
He stayed in a nice hotel when everybody else was in tents. Just so you know.
That's so true.
You're lucky enough to have them.
Tent is luxury.
The Cairo West Hilton is much better than Tent City. I can tell you that.
So as I get started, feel free to pass this food around. I don't want it to go to waste. I was inspired by a couple of my brothers here who served in Vietnam to start with a quick story. When I came home from Iraq in 2006, we landed out here at Rickenbacker in Columbus. Middle of the night, our families were waiting in a hangar as we landed in a C-5. As we got close to the hangar door, there was a line of folks holding flags. And I remember getting up to them and thinking, it's a rainy night, in the middle of the night, what are these guys doing here? I noticed they had Vietnam veteran patches on their shirts. And I remember asking one of them, why are you guys here? They said, when we came home, we didn't get the welcome we should have gotten.
Yeah.
And they said, we decided then that we were going to make it right for your generation. That's the spirit of the American fighting man and fighting woman, to take something crappy for them that should have never happened and turn it into something really, really nice for us. So, thank you. I told you this is a job interview. Let's start with what's the mission. The mission here, and especially to our members of the committee, thank you all for your service. I know you don't get paid a dime for your work as a member of the County Central Committee, but the work of growing and building a party, it's not a social club. We enjoy each other's company in the GOP, but we're not there for a social club. We're there for the mission, and that is to elect people that share our values so that we can put our community, our state, and our country on the right track. That's why the party exists. And so the work that you do as a member of the committee is valuable in growing the party, welcoming new people into the party with open arms and making sure that they feel welcome. Listen, we're the party of working class men and women. The Democrats have been saying that for years, but it's not true. We're the party of people that take a shower after work, right? You get what I'm saying? And when men and women work hard for a living, there are people. So we've got a country to save. That's the mission here. And this is no joke. That's not exaggeration. If we don't act soon, we're going to be the first generation in American history, think about it, to leave this country weaker, poorer, and less secure. I think the founders were very wise with the second sentence in the Constitution. The first one is "we the people." The second part of that phrase is "in order to form a more perfect union." More perfect acknowledges that no human endeavor is perfect. My faith tells me the last perfect one was hung on a cross over 2,000 years ago. So we don't have perfection, but each generation's job is to make this union more perfect. And I believe each generation has done that. From the founding generation that took up arms against the British, to the generation that that won the Civil War, that fought for the Civil Rights Movement, that won the World Wars, that fought for women's rights, that put a man on the moon, that invented the internet, that won the Cold War, by the way. Each generation has left this country a little bit stronger, a little bit freer, a little bit more prosperous. If our generation doesn't act soon, we'll be the first one to leave it weaker, poorer, and less secure. I, for one, will be damned if that'll happen on my watch.
Amen to that.
Right? I took an oath when I was 18. Whether you took that oath a few years ago or a few decades ago to serve in the armed forces, and many of us here have, that's a lifelong commitment. There's no expiration date on that. Preserve and protect the Constitution, defend it against all enemies, foreign and domestic, for the rest of your life once you make that commitment. That's also a commitment that you're saying this country is so precious it's worth dying for. And if you pause on that, there are very few things in this life that are so precious you die for them. Your faith, your family, this country, pretty much the totality of the list. This country is worth fighting for, it is worth dying for, but by extension that also means it's worth living for. That's why I've decided to run for the United States Senate. I want to talk about some of the issues that we face here and why this is so important, but it starts with who can defeat Sherrod Brown. If we don't beat Brown,